I think the thing that comes to mind when I think about Patty is her amazing work ethic. The woman is everywhere all at once, and as someone who works for her, like, you can't help but be inspired by how hard she works.
She leads with joy, she leads with hope, she leads with an incredible work ethic, but never in a way that feels exhausted by the work, always in a way that she seems called to the work and inspired by the work. I mean, she is an amazing model of what it means to fulfill a vocation. It wasn't a career for her, it clearly wasn't a job, it was really something that she seems to take great pride in, but also has great hope in. And that's a pretty special leadership style.
Sometimes I get the feeling that way back when in the 80s, she saw the potential of this school. She realized how good it already was and how great it could be.
I remember the early days that I was at St. Francis, and Patty and I would look at each other and high-five each other if we got one National Merit finalist, if just one student was admitted into an Ivy League school. But that was not enough for Patty. Patty wanted to grow the academic reputation of St. Francis High School. Today, her efforts have been well rewarded, as the best colleges in America now come right to our campus to recruit the students that they want in their top-notch universities. Merit finalists have grown from that single one that we might have had to now having more merit finalists than any Catholic high school in California.
Patty's a clear Holy Cross educator. She was able to approach curriculum and to approach teachers and students with great enthusiasm and see that St. Francis became the best school it could possibly be.
And that gives great confidence to a board, because you know that in the difficult times and the great ones that you have someone who's got the school's best interest in their heart, and that is such a privilege to work alongside and support.
Putting the students first, I think, is an identifiable characteristic of who Patty is. And that's the beauty of it, is I think she sees that potential, she knows how to bring it out in people, and that rubs off on everybody.
So me, I might be Miss Tennant's most difficult student to deal with. I might have turned most of my assignments in late, but Miss Tennant was always there to run around campus and find me, even when I was hiding from her. And she'd make me do the work right in front of her, and she held me accountable, and that's one of the big lessons I've learned from her, is just to be accountable for everything and be responsible.
My greatest memory is this open door that she always had. Unless there was someone actually in the office with her, her door was always open, and I felt, personally, that when I was in front of her, I was the only one that existed. I mean, she was that attentive to me, and I would assume that's true for everyone.
I remember the time she came to me, probably about this time of year, asking, "Kevin, we need to add a robotics program." Well, I looked at her and said, "That's a great idea, but the budget's already in, it's passed, it's done. We'll have to give it a year." That wasn't good enough for Patty. Patty sat down, provided every single argument as to why we not only needed robotics, but we needed it right next year, right when we started. So, as I always do, I said to her, "I've got some good arguments, but let me take this into consideration." Well, I'm sure Patty got up, said thanks very much. As she walked out, she was grinning from ear to ear, knowing that once again, her arguments would win out. We would have robotics at St. Francis High School beginning in the fall.
I think she had the ability to lead people, to give them the information they need to help them make the decisions she thought needed to be made, and to move curriculum, move activities, hire the right people. That was the great gift.
Patty always seemed to understand where the potential was, and she saw it in me somewhere. She took a big risk on me. She knows this. I've told her on many occasions, but she believed it was a worthy risk. It just had time would tell ultimately, and I admire that. And I appreciate that deeply, because over the course of years, both in the department and just in general, she pushed me in directions that I wasn't always comfortable going, but I think that was the result of just recognizing what she believed was potential. She had a better eye than I did.
Patty clearly understands the importance of recruiting and retaining the very best educators, I think because she herself is a great educator. She never left the classroom in all her years at St. Francis. I used to beg her, take a year off from teaching, just focus on the duties of a principal. She could never do that because she loved teaching. And I think because of that, she always was a tremendous advocate, not just for teachers, but for staff, for administrators, for every single employee at St. Francis.
So my daughter Delaney has Patty for World Lit. And about 2 months into class this year, she began talking about in the car about how her and her classmates believed that they were handpicked for the class. And I kind of laughed and was like, oh, that's ridiculous. Of course you weren't handpicked. But the more I thought about it, the more I thought about the dynamic that surrounded that idea, and that kids are only going to think they're handpicked if they feel valued. And to me, that said that what a great class culture she's created, that all of these kids are convinced that somehow they were wanted and desired and picked especially to be in her class. And to me, that just gave me a little glimpse about what a fantastic teacher she is, and truly shows that she really values her students.
Now that I think of it, I think we might have been handpicked because everyone in the class, we didn't really know each other like at the beginning of the year, but I guess we kind of had like this bonding thing throughout this whole school year, and everyone's just gotten closer, and I don't know, we're just like a small family class.
She could connect with people. She could connect with students, she could connect with faculty. It was high standards, and she's a very demanding teacher. But they would respond, and it was the connection.
There's been a great connect with Patty and the Diocese of San Jose. She has always served faithfully, not only to this community, but to the wider community, and certainly to the Diocese of San Jose, the local church. And interestingly enough, you know, our bishop and most bishops are very, very busy, but when I shared with him that on the feast of St. Joseph and the celebration of the Holy Cross, that it would be Patty's last celebration of the Eucharist with the student body, the entire student body, he immediately said, I'll be there.
I think in many ways we know from a diocesan perspective that you won't find a better advocate for Catholic schools and Catholic school students than in Patty. So whenever there was a need or a question or a want or a child or a teacher, any one of a number of items, I think we always knew that there was a careful steward in Patty.
Patty has been with me in just about everything that we've had to do, and particularly in the spiritual realm and also the pastoral realm. Being there for people who've been in pain and difficulty, and I've seen her reach out to our faculty, our former students and families, and it's just wonderful to have someone like that as the spiritual head of the school.
I don't think there was ever such a thing as an event with our students involved, whether it be athletics, whether it be music, whether it be dance, speech and debate. Any event was really not an event unless Patty Tennant was there.
I remember my sophomore year when we got put up to play on the varsity football team. We drove all the way down to LA for our first state game, and it was like crazy raining, ugly weather, and there Miss Tennant was on the sideline supporting us like always. And then fast forward 2 years later, and we were playing in our second state game up in Sacramento. Crazy wind, and she probably could have knocked any of us over, and Miss Tennant was there. She walked on the field with the captains, and it just shows what kind of support system she gives to the school and all the activities here.
I think the other thing that I really love, and you don't see it that often because she's so busy with things, is when I see her Christmas Eve at Mass with the grandchildren. It is so much fun to see how aglow she is. And I mean, it's a different glow than she normally has. She always has this goal around the kids, but when she's around those grandchildren, it's just a wonderful thing to see.
I think as this school moves on into the future, we're going to look back and realize that Patty was a pillar, a big foundational pillar. Not that things hadn't come before her, but I think she really recognized where the school could go, and she pushed us in that direction. And I think all subsequent leaders, you know, for those of us that will be here and have that memory, she's going to live with us for a long, long time.
I simply want to say thank you. Your mission as a Holy Cross educator has flowed far beyond the confines of 1885 Miramonte Avenue. You are known and cherished in New Orleans, in Brazil, in San Antonio, in Austin, Texas, everywhere. You have touched the lives of Holy Cross educators, and we're very grateful for that.